Welcome to Film and Page. I'm Dominic, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the 2018 book The Queen of Sorrow, written by Sarah Beth Durst and published by Harper Voyager. So this is the third book in the Queens of Renthia trilogy. So this book continues off from the second one, obviously, and now it's kind of like a time of peace in Arete. Oh, by the way, before I get started, if you haven't read the first two books, there's going to be spoilers in this one for those other books, just so you know. So this story picks up after the second one, and they have defeated Mirkot's plans from the second book. They had their war with the spirits. But they drove her back to her own land of Simo. So now everything's kind of like at a point of peace. Arete has both its queens. Delania is, one queen, and then they have Neelan, the other queen. And so everything is going really good right now. And so Champion Ven and Neelan and her children and Renette, they head off to do some, queen-like duties out in, tour all the villages and stuff, which Neelan is, she's not really comfortable with this because she was very much a reluctant queen. She didn't really want to be a queen, and she didn't like the idea of it. So she doesn't like this. So as they're going out, she doesn't like people, treating her like royalty because she still doesn't think of herself as one. So they go to this one town that's having some problems. So she has to try to work out the problems and stuff like that. So they have all these requests they want of her. One thing is they want her to build a library and things like that. So while they're there, Renette decides to take the children and go off into the forest for a picnic. So she agrees to it and lets him go. And then the wolf Bane goes with them. While they're out in the forest having this picnic, they get attacked by spirits. So now the spirits, they're not just randomly, savagely attacking them. It's like a coordinated attack. So Renette tries to fight them off the best he can. He can't do it. Spirits take him out. They don't kill him, but they just take him out. And then they drive Bane out, and they kind of almost herd Bane the wolf as he's trying to fight them. They herd him off into the Untamed Lands. So he kind of dives through the border, through almost like a border of smoke, and disappears into the Untamed Lands. And then they kidnap Neelan's two children and take off with them, and they disappear. So then Renette runs back and he tells Neelan, children were taken, and then Champion and Ven, and they try to get her children back with no luck. The spirits have them, they're gone. And then that's where the story kicks off. So the story kicks off fairly early in the book. These events are fairly early. So then from that on, they have to figure out, well, who took her children? Why did they take her children? What are they trying to do? Does this have anything to do with Mirkot? Is this one of Mirkot's plans? And then you have this kind of a rift between Delania and Neelan, because you have these two queens and the situation going on, and they both have different ideas of how they want to handle this situation. So there's a bit of a rift there. They have to try to resolve this before they can actually deal with what's going on. So that was an interesting twist. So some of the things I liked about this third entry in this trilogy is, again, I really liked how the author could paint this world. It really gave me strong visuals of what this world looked like. And what the other thing is how the magic system worked. I thought that was really cool, as I mentioned in my other reviews. So there's that. And some of the other things I really liked about this is you get more detail on the background of the character of Ven, the champion Ven. You get to meet his family, where he grew up, and you get his mother. Which is another really cool character. His mother shows up in this book, and she's like this totally awesome warrior, female warrior and stuff like that. So this is why you get to see why Ven is the way he is and what kind of shaped him and things like that. And then also you get to see the motivations of Mirkot, why she's doing this, why the events of the second book happened, and why she did that, why they had that, why she tried to invade Arete with all those spirits and try to take over Delania's territory. So you get that too. And on top of that, I think Mirkot is a pretty interesting character, pretty good antagonist. Not a black and white or just a very one-dimensional mustache twirling villain. More of a very complex character. So that was pretty cool. Another thing was cool in this book is you got a glimpse of some of the other territories. In the first two books, you hear about the Untamed Lands And the stories take place in Arete and Simo. So you don't really know what other queens are out there and what other lands there are. So you get to see more of the world in this book. You get to see that there's a land, a territory that's all ice, and there's a queen that lives almost like in an ice palace, and the majority of the spirits there are like ice spirits or air spirits. And then there's a water territory where all the spirits are water spirits, the majority of them, things like that. So that was pretty cool. Kind of opened up the world a bit more, and you get to see that there's more territories in it. And another cool thing about this third book is you get to learn how the world of Renthia came to be in the first place, and why the spirits hate humans so much, and how all that got started. So that gets explained in this third book, which it doesn't in the other two books. You just kind of get introduced to the world. Here's how it's set up. Here's the humans. Here's the spirits. The spirits hate humans, so each territory has to have a queen that can control the spirits and keep the humans safe. But it doesn't explain how it got to that point or how this world is the way it is, but you get some explanation in this book. Now, some of the things I didn't like. One of the things I didn't like is I hoped the character of Bane would have a more active role in this book. But he didn't, unfortunately. He does have an important role, but it's not like he's not out in front of the story. So this is a character that I didn't really notice. It's kind of like the author kind of snuck in the importance of this character, the Wolf Bane, until the second book. You realize that Bane really becomes important and is an important character. Because that second book has like a really interesting cliffhanger that I really liked. So I was hoping you would get to see a lot more of the Wolf character kind of brought to the forefront because of that cliffhanger in this book, but you don't get that. The character does get pushed off into the background, still has an important role, but it's not an active role, which I was kind of hoping the Wolf would have more of an active role in the story, almost kind of take over and become one of the frontline characters instead of Ven or someone like that, kind of like take in that role. So I was kind of disappointed with that. And then the other thing, out of the three books, my least favorite in this trilogy was probably the first book. I thought the second one by far is the best one. That one was actually really good page turner. Really liked it, the second one. And this one is not as good as the second one, but it's still better than the first book, but still has some spots where it kind of dragged. So it wasn't as nearly as good as the second book in the series. So my overall view of this whole trilogy as a whole, it's not a bad fantasy series. Now, it's definitely falls into that whole category of young adult. I think it has a lot of those young adult, I guess, ideas or tropes, I guess you would call them, where you have this young person going to this school and, you know, who's like an underdog, kind of like that whole Harry Potter scenario. It's kind of has that running through it. Although the book obviously handles it differently, but it's similar to that. And even has like a lot of romance in it and stuff like that you kind of have in the YA books. So I don't know if this book is aimed at my age range. I don't think it is. I think it is for more younger readers. But even though it's not aimed at me, I still enjoyed the trilogy. And as I said before, I wanted to get into the habit of reading more fantasy books. And so I wanted to start something that was something different from Dungeons and Dragons and Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. And so, like I said in my first review of the first book, I just happened upon this series just at the bookstore, and I bought the first book just because I liked the cover, and that was the only reason. And so, but it wasn't a series that blew my socks off. It was like an okay series. I enjoyed reading it, but I don't think I would ever read it again. Now, there is a fourth book that it's kind of like a spin-off story that takes place in another territory. It has nothing to do with this trilogy. Now, I think I got everything I needed out of these three books, so I don't really have any desire to go find that one standalone story that takes place in this world. To me, it had this really good trilogy of these three books, and you kind of got to know everything you needed to know about this world, and anything else doesn't really interest me in reading. But again, like, I like the magic systems were good in this, something different. And one thing I do have to say though about this book series before I wrap things up is the covers. The cover designs for these books look absolutely gorgeous, and that was a big reason that got me to pick them up in the first place, especially the third book. The third book has the best cover of the three. I really like that cover for this third book. Looks really cool, really nice artwork. So that's everything I got to say in this video. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and I will see you at the next one. I'd like to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I appreciate you all in helping this channel grow. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when new videos are uploaded.